Approval workflows help ensure that documents meet quality and compliance standards before they're published or shared. With Breeze, you can bring powerful approval workflows directly into Atlassian Confluence. The workflows are easy to set up and use, yet flexible enough to support advanced requirements, even in regulated environments like ISO 27001. Now, let's take a look at how to set up an approval workflow in Breeze. Open Breeze and go to Workflows. Select Create Workflow to open the setup form. In the Approvals section, you'll define the key settings for your approval process. The first option is Use Draft Status for new pages. When this is enabled, new pages in the workflow space start in draft status. Without it, they start as up to date. In both cases, once the content has changed and an approval is requested, the page moves to in approval. If the request is accepted, the page becomes up to date. If it's rejected, it goes back to draft. By default, Confluence does not allow third-party apps or users other than the editor to access unpublished content on a page. Because of this, the standard approval workflow we saw earlier requires that changes are published before an approval request can begin. While many approval apps stop there, Breeze goes further with the option Allow users to create working copies. Working copies are a powerful solution for implementing more restrictive approval workflows, ideal for compliance scenarios like ISO 27001. The main idea is to separate three key steps: editing the content, requesting approval for the changes, and publishing those changes, but only after they've been reviewed and approved. This separation is achieved by cloning the original page into a dedicated working copy space. While the original content remains untouched, the working copy begins in draft status and can be freely edited. Once the content of the working copy has been updated, the user can start an approval request. If the request is accepted, Breeze will automatically merge the changes into the original page. After that, the working copy is archived automatically. User permissions for this workflow can be fully customized using Confluence's space settings. To create a working copy, edit its content, and request approval, a user must have view permission in the original space and permissions to add and edit pages and add comments in the working copy space. To approve a working copy and merge its content back into the original page, a user must have permissions to edit pages and attachments in the original space, and permissions to edit, delete, and archive pages and add comments in the working copy space. By separating permissions between the original and working copy spaces, you gain full control over who can edit, approve, and publish content in your workflow. The next option allows you to preset approvers in advance, so users requesting approval cannot choose freely. They must use the predefined options. You can choose between two preset types: standard approval and multi-step approval. The standard approval preset lets you define the approval type and multiple approver options from which the user can select one when requesting approval for a page. In this example, the approval type is set to Everyone Must Approve, and the preset is configured with two options. If a user selects the first option, Molly Clark and Omar Darbo must both approve the page. If a user selects the second option, all members of the Confluence user group standard approvers must approve the page. If you only configure one approver option, the user won't be able to choose, but the predefined approvers will be automatically applied. To configure these approver options, click the pen icon next to the approver list. The multi-step approval preset can be used to approve Confluence documents in sequential steps. The approvers of each step need to accept the request to finally approve the document. In this example, users requesting approval can choose for the first step between Molly Clark and Omar Darbo, first option, or the Confluence user group first-level approvers, as the second option. However, they cannot decide on the approvers of the second step because it only has one option, and hence, it will always be conducted by Christian or Adrian. The next option is Enable Reminders. When this is selected, you can set a reminder interval in days to automatically notify approvers to take action on pending approval requests. When a reminder is triggered, Breeze adds a page comment that includes @mentions of the approvers. This sends both an email notification and a message in Confluence's notification center. Once all options are configured, make sure to give your workflow a clear descriptive name so it's easy to identify later. Then click Save Workflow to finish the setup. With the workflow saved, the next step is to assign it to one or more Confluence spaces so it can be used in practice. To assign a workflow, go to the Overview component and choose the desired space. Then click Assign Workflow, select the workflow you created earlier, and confirm by clicking Assign Workflow again. Once assigned, the approval workflow will be applied to all pages in the selected space. You can assign it to more spaces or use different workflows for different spaces depending on your needs. And if you need even more flexibility, workflow customization allows you to apply different approval settings to specific parts of a single space, such as individual page trees. To learn more about these customization options, check out the Breeze documentation. That's it! You've now seen how to set up and assign an approval workflow in Breeze. With just a few simple steps, you can bring structure, clarity, and compliance to your Confluence pages. Thanks for watching.